Being vulnerable is very essential. Have you ever thought to yourself with how many people you can be vulnerable, where you can just be yourself, where you don't have to play any roles? And we have very few people in our life, and if you're lucky, and I hope you do, that you have a person where you can just be yourself, where you don't have to play any roles, where your failures, where your past, where all your insecurities, where all the things you feel you're not enough for, and a place where you're completely accepted. It's quintessential. It's so necessary in life that we seldom think about these things. We don't think about these things because we're so used to playing all the rules. In school we were told to come on top. We were told to succeed. And then we had to make our way through colleges, universities, and then we had to play the role of a worker. And no matter it's a big company or a small company, you have to work somewhere. You end up playing that role there, and no matter how hard you try, and no matter how well you connect with your colleagues or your classmates, it's always a role there where you're not completely yourself, where you're trying to be accepted by other people. And then you get into relationships, which again is a role if it's not conscious enough, where you're playing a role to fulfill yourself, and it becomes a very transactionary thing because even the other person is trying to fulfill themselves. And these things are very limited, and at a deeper level they are very toxic. So being accepted by just one person is so important in life, and it may take decades to find that person. I hope you go on a path where you see all the problems that happen in life. You see all the people you have been with in life, be it family, colleagues, partners, even strangers, where you get into a habit of learning from each person, no matter if it's a good thing or a bad thing. So, looking at yourself, looking at your own experiences, and coming on top of those, not by force, but by being vulnerable with yourself, by being vulnerable in your own mind, of being able to see what happened to you, what was done by other people, and not be affected by them. It's only then can you actually see your past and actually learn from them, and not develop coping mechanisms to deal with the past. It's only then where you can actually be vulnerable with yourself first. And it's only then where you tend to meet people who are vulnerable themselves and with whom you can become vulnerable. That is totally yourself, where you don't have to put down any masks, where there is no layer of anything that is not you. And for that to happen, you first have to find out what you are. And what you are cannot be found if there are masks, layers of masks on top of all the roles that you play. This uncovering of layers is essential. It's very important to see that these masks exist. It's only then can you remove them. It's only then that you can remove them with love, not by force. With force, it's never possible to remove it. And even if you're able to do it, it keeps coming back. Nothing in life can work out permanently as a solution for human beings by force. Everything has to happen in a very frictionless manner, because there is love in that. Everything that happens in nature is with love. Flower blossoms out of love. A seed grows into a plant with love. Animal is born with love. A human baby is born with love. All these are natural processes that happen without any friction. To be vulnerable does a world of good to you. What it brings about is a drastic change, an immense shift where you don't hold yourself back ever again, not even to yourself. And that gives a sense of acceptance to yourself, about yourself first. It's only then can you accept another person as they are. It's only then will you find a person where you give importance about you being accepted as yourself. Else you will always try to make your way into a person's life, where you'll try to compromise on a lot of things that you should not. And these are the things that hurt people. These are the things that people don't know where to have a boundary about. And the work starts with you first. It's here first, and then it is about the other person. But when we make it about the other person first, and that is trouble in making, because that puts the whole onus on the other person and not you taking responsibility for yourself, for your own inner world. There's an entire inner world which you're supposed to first see that it exists, and then you can see what its structure is, what its form is, why it exists, how it exists, what is it made of. Is it made of anything? Where does it come from? The very psyche that you live, the moment you are born till you die, from the moment you wake up till you sleep, that's your psyche. And if you don't understand that, understanding anything else doesn't mean anything. You would just put in information for 70-80 years and then you die, without even knowing where is the information, what is the information, where exactly is it coming from, how is it happening only to you, and why can't other people read your mind, why can't you read people's mind, why is it impossible to do so? These questions are supposed to be asked, but people rarely do that. Nobody, even in psychology, people analyze what the psyche is, but without any analysis, just looking at your own psyche, that is the solution. Without any preconceived notions about it, that gives you the way to the truth. And that way happens very instantly, because psyche is always functioning here. It's always here. Even though it may feel as if it's functioning because you're feeling things from what has happened before, but it is still happening here. It has always happened here, and even the future always happens here. The psyche is always here. That's the problem of analysis, where we keep on gathering information and we are lost in that information because we don't know what the information is. We know the language of the information, but we don't know the origins of the information, of what we're trying to find. The origin of the information is the mind, but you will get to the solution only when you look at what the mind is doing, not by analysis. So when you observe yourself, when you are in a moment where you're just there, that can continue for 24/7. And even with that stillness, you can continue to use the mind. You can yourself generate thoughts. That's the beauty of understanding the psyche and having that stillness and a quiet brain, where you can feel each and every thought, every feeling, because you're not different from that. That's the whole problem about looking at things differently. We're so used to looking things differently on the outside that we do the same for what is happening in our mind also. And this has become a really drastic shift in humanity, where we are looking at everything as an entity in itself. It is in physicality, but it does not exist as different entities. All these entities are happening at the same time. They may have different forms. We may have different physical body. They may be different other physical organisms, but everything has a basis to it, because without any basis, things cannot exist in physicality. And that basis is emptiness. That basis is the stillness, out of which everything is born, even the thoughts, even the feelings, even our physical existence. An analysis never helps here, because it would mean you're never here. For to do the analysis, you have to always go to the past and have that information. But to look without the past, that is where the beauty is. When it's raining outside and you can just look at those water droplets falling down from the sky, you don't know where it's falling from. But if you're just in that moment, you can just see each and every droplet all over the place in front of you. And not focus on one droplet, but also hear each droplet, all the birds singing around, all the vehicles sound, your own heartbeat sound, your own sound of the thought, and all these are happening at once. That slowness is so important, and that slowness will come only when you observe the mind. And that will only come when you can be vulnerable with yourself, where you are brutally honest about who you are. Whether you are anything that society has told you, or you are something way beyond that. And this takes depth for a person to see. For someone who is just living very superficially, talking about people, talking about what is happening in society, just going on arguing about stuff, these do no good to observing the mind. And the focus being on the mind, to be in the present, to see the beauty of that. You should be free of the mind itself. And this takes a lot of observation. If you're not used to observation, then it may be tough, but it's something that you can develop to. And if observation and slowness is very natural to you, you can definitely do this. A lot of people don't have this capacity, but the very few that do have, maybe 1 or 2% out of 8.3 billion, they are very much capable of channeling that kind of observation towards the mind. There's nothing more beautiful than that in life. There's nothing more beautiful than being aware of what your mind is doing. And then you reach a point where you don't even have to be aware, where the awareness is just there, because then there is no separateness between you and the mind. This is not to say that you are the mind and all these silly things that have been said before, that you are the thought. What that makes a person think is they end up fighting with what they believe they are and what another person is saying they are. and it is again coming from someone else that has said something. Even I am saying something now, but you don't have to rely on any words. The only thing you can rely on is your own observation. You can test it and see. And for you to test it, you just need to be brutally honest with what kind of things are happening in your mind, where you can observe, where you can see the thoughts that are happening to you, no matter how fast, no matter how random it is, no matter how many topics happens at once, no matter how many times it shifts, it doesn't even matter. But when you slow down, when you slow down externally, then you can slow down internally also. But if you're someone who has a natural knack of doing things slowly, that's going to do a world of good in observation, because then you can bring it inside, because it's very natural to you. Someone who has always done things fast, even that helps. If a person has been doing something quickly, always, and then they are brought to a halt, that brings the mind also to a halt. Then they will have a distinct clarity of how unconsciously they have been living all this while. It could be for decades. But when that moment comes where with this silence everywhere for them, where they can hear, listen for the first time about things they have never even listened before. There's a huge difference between just hearing someone or something and listening. Listening doesn't have any interpretation. It doesn't have any distinction or separateness, and it doesn't have anything to do with the mind. You hear a lot of things, but you listen to all of it without any bias, without any personal agenda. And this is possible only because you have that slowness. To generate that slowness in the mind, you have to channel it, and you have to be with yourself and not let whatever anybody has told you corrupt it. And when you be with yourself and are able to witness what is happening in the mind, you will see that there is stillness first. And the stillness is not different from the sound itself. The stillness, there is the sound, and they are no different. But the basis of all the sound, the basis of even the sound of the thought, is emptiness. And it takes a lot of vulnerability, and being vulnerable is one of the most crucial things you can do to yourself. Just be vulnerable. No matter what has happened to you, no matter what is going on in your life, just be vulnerable and speak the truth to yourself and to other people. That will do a world of good. And if you continue doing that, if you continue speaking the truth that you know about yourself, in any situation that you are, in any phase of your life that you are, that kind of truth has immense power in it. Because when you become truthful to yourself about yourself, truth has a way of finding around things. And when truth has entered your life, when it enters your life, because you have become truthful about who you are, it will take you so deep in your life that you would not even recall the person that you were before. You would not even recognize the kind of person you become over time. It could just be in a matter of few weeks, months. That's the power of awareness, and it all starts with being vulnerable.